monthly meeting. Today is March 17th, 2026. We do have a quorum present here tonight. To my right, and if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, to my right is Councilman, my right and your left would be Councilman Julius Buckley, Councilman Roscoe Ward, Councilman Brent McWaters, our City Secretary, Ms. Juanita Lamont, yours truly. To my left and your right will be our City Manager, Lee Tipton, our City Attorney, Mr. Tommy Ramsey, and on the end we have Councilwoman Ms. Rachel Hall. And tonight we're going to have a prayer tonight by Pastor Joshua Ray of the First Methodist Church here in Cleveland. And after we have our prayer, we're going to ask Ms. Rachel Hall if she do our pledges for us tonight. Please join in.
Good evening, Mayor and councilors, citizens of Cleveland. Would you join me as we approach the Lord in prayer? Let us pray. Gracious and almighty God, we come before you tonight with gratitude. Gratitude for the city, for its people, and for the opportunity to serve the common good. We thank you for the gift of Cleveland, for the families and neighbors who call it home, and for those entrusted with its leadership in this place. Holy Spirit, we invite you to be present in this place, in this moment. And Lord, we ask that you would guide this council with wisdom, discernment, and integrity. Grant these leaders clarity in their decisions, patience in our discussions, and a shared commitment to what is good, beautiful, and true. As followers of Jesus Christ, we are reminded that true leadership is found in service. Your Son came not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life for others. So shape our hearts after his example, that all who lead and who are led would seek not personal gain, but the flourishing of others. Holy Spirit, we ask that you would be present in this place, bring wisdom where there is uncertainty, unity where there is division, and peace where there is tension. Would you, in your mercy, guide each conversation, steady every decision, and lead us in the way of truth? We pray for this community, that is, this city, that it would be a people marked by compassion and love for our neighbors. Help us to pursue peace. Help us to care for the vulnerable, that this may be a city where all may freely bask in your grace and blessing. Lord, bless the work of this meeting tonight. May it be guided by your wisdom and carried out in a spirit of unity and respect. We offer this prayer in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And let all God's people say together, Amen. Amen. Amen.
Please join me for the pledge to the American flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now for the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Okay, we have our presentations. Okay, we have our monthly awards. And okay, got Mr. Tipton here. And we gonna
Vanna White.
Yeah, you got me, man.
Quick hands.
City of Cleveland, Employee of the Month, February 2026, Miss Lisa Smith. Would you come forward, please? Okay. Lisa, the City of Cleveland, Employee of the Month, February 2026. This certificate is proudly presented to Lisa Smith for your exceptional performance this month and appreciation for your loyalty and achieving company goals. Signed, Mayor Danny Lee, City Manager Lee Tipton. And Lisa, we thank you for the work that you do every day. You show up, you do a great job for us, and your work and professionalism is much needed and is greatly appreciated. And we thank you. And congratulations. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Smith.
Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Sue Hayes, would you please come forward? And for all that don't know, Ms. Sue Hayes, this is Hal McClellan's sister. The late, great, the immortal Hal McClellan. Great guy.
His son is in town right now.
Great. This is Hal's sister. But Ms. Hayes, the City of Cleveland, this certifies that Sue Hayes has successfully completed 5 years of employment with the City of Cleveland and is therefore awarded this certificate of appreciation dated this day, the 17th day of March, signed Danny Lee, Mayor, Lee Tipton, City Manager. Sue, we thank you, for your service to the city. And, every time I see you, you always got a smile and a positive attitude. You encourage people. And it's just good that you choose to live and work here for our city. And thank you. And, stay a while. Don't go nowhere. Thank you. Okay, Michael O'Brien. Okay. Okay, Michael, City of Cleveland. This certifies that Michael O'Brien has successfully completed 5 years of employment with the City of Cleveland and is therefore awarded the Certificate of Appreciation dated the 17th day of March, 2026. Signed, Mayor Danny Lee, City Manager Lee Tipton. Michael, man, I just want to thank you for your service. And it's always an honor for me to present our first responders with any type of award or certificate, because I truly admire the work that you do. And I think it was a month ago, I asked the guy, was he the guy on top of the roof that day at Reyes? Were you the guy on top of the roof?
No, it was not me.
These guys are very brave. I seen, that was really the first time that I actually saw them in action. And you guys are very brave and y'all professional. And just thank you for everything you do, man.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Come on, Sean. Okay. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Okay, you got another one? Mark Lovell. Oh, okay. You in, caught me off guard. Not in uniform. How you doing? Okay, Mark, City of Cleveland certifies that Mark Lovell, Close enough. Okay. Sorry about that, man. Has successfully completed 15 years of employment with the City of Cleveland and is therefore awarded this Certificate of Appreciation dated the 17th day of March, 2026. Signed, Mayor Danny Lee, City Manager Lee Tipton. And Mark, I also want to thank you for 15 years. Anytime you put that amount of time in on a job, it's obviously you love the job that you're doing, and I know you're doing a good job for us. You know, and I just thank you from the bottom of my heart, and it's always an honor when I honor a first responder. So thank you for your bravery, your courtesy, and everything that you bring to the table every day in keeping our city safe.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Take care. Yeah, go ahead, Sean.
I just wanted to say real quick, with Michael O'Brien, he's only been here for a few years, but we appreciate everything that he's done. He's one of our veterans that we have that's within the department. He was in the Army previously. He has also gotten his certification. He's helping us do some of the building inspections and stuff like that, and helping us keep the community safe. Mark Lovell has been with us since we had EMS service, and he worked with us through the whole time we did the transition to becoming paid. And I always pick on him because he told me, you just don't work here a couple of years, pay off a couple things, and now he's been here 15 years later. But the time that he's been here, the leadership that he gives when he's here, as one of our senior personnel, has been invaluable to this department, and I appreciate everything both of them do. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Sean. Okay, we're going to move on to item number 5, public comments. Any person with city-related business may speak to the council in compliance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. The city of Cleveland may not discuss or vote on any matter raised in public comments unless it's specifically on the agenda. To speak during a council meeting, you must be recognized by the presiding officer. Okay, public comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Ms. Juanita, she keeps the time here for us. And our first speaker tonight will be Ms. Vanessa, is it Toole? Come on, Ms. Toole.
Hi, I am not a public speaker, so please forgive me in advance. I am here to advocate for Safe Haven Baby Boxes, which is an organization that looks to save newborns whose parents may not be the best fit to take care of them or may choose not to take care of them. It is a climate-controlled box that typically goes into the side of a fire station, so it would be in an area where the public would have access to from the outside. On the inside, only first responders would have access to it. So fire department, EMT, police department, depending on what the city has available. They would have access to the inside of the box where they can safely take the child, and they would transport it to the hospital, and CPS would take over from there. So it's just a safe place for the child to be dropped off at. So it's out of the elements. Like I said, it is climate controlled. There are alarms on the box. So as soon as the door from the outside is open, it is about a 2-second wait, and then there is a silent alarm on the inside of the fire station. Once something or someone is placed inside the box, it's about 60 seconds until the next alarm goes off, which that one is going to be audible. It's also going to notify the dispatch. So that way, if there's nobody at the fire station at the time, dispatch will still know, and they can send somebody over there from whichever agency needs to go over there. We've even had neighboring cities who have had to go to the station just because that city was on a call or something like that. So it's really a team effort. Once that happens, they take the child, they take it to the hospital, and like I said, CPS kind of takes over. So the child never goes into the foster system. They are saved for about 30 to 45 days, depending on the law, and they'll go into a foster family temporarily, just to make sure the parents don't want to come back and gain custody of their child the way that they need to. After that, they go straight into an adoptive family. So it's it's very good for the child. Newborns, unfortunately, we've had several of them in ditches, found found deceased in trash cans, and we are trying to keep that from happening again in the future. And it may not be an issue in this area necessarily, but the goal is to prevent that. Along with that comes education to the public, not only of the box, because the box would be a last-ditch effort to save the newborn. There is a 24/7 hotline number that's associated with this. They could call at any time, get information about the Safe Haven law in their area, and then we would go through all the channels. So it would be, okay, well, do you need to talk to a counselor? Do you need resources? What's the issue? And go from there. But it would just be a last-ditch effort to save the child. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Vanessa, we can't really comment, but I would like for you to leave your contact information with Lee Tipton, or you can leave it with Chief Sean Anderson before you leave, and we'll be getting back with you because, okay, all right. We already have it here. We got your contact information, but thank you for your concern that you want to do this for our city, and we thank you, and we'll be getting in touch with you. Thank you very much. Okay, now we have Mr. Jack Stevens, and he's going to come, and he wants to speak to the council.
Thank you, City Council. My name's Jack Stevens. I have a proposal for the City Council tonight. Currently, there's a waiting list of over 40 people for hangars at your airport. I'd like to propose that I'm willing to move a new hangar that will house 10 airplanes to your airport at absolutely no cost to you. I'm willing to put up the entire cost to pay for the entire relocation of a new hangar to your airport. All I ask is you let the rent on that hangar pay me back in full for the relocation of that building to your airport. Sounds like a pretty good idea. City gets a new hangar, and people out there that have airplanes have a place to put them. There's absolutely no cost to the city. The rent from the hangar will be used to cover the entire cost of the relocation. After the cost of the relocation is paid, the city gets all the rental income, which with the current rent over the next 35 years will be almost $1.7 million. Well, that's what I did 4 years ago, guys. And I did everything I said I was going to do. I moved the hangar to your airport at no cost to the city. And the city's been doing a pretty good job as far as paying me back. And at that point, I thought that everything was right until they went up on the rent, and I found out that you guys never had any of the checks or invoices. I gave them to Bobby Pennington. I've contacted Bobby Pennington. He will not talk to me. Lee Tipton has tried to reach out to him. He's not talking to him either. So I don't know what happened to the invoices and checks. Please remember, I'm not asking for a dime from the city. I put all this money out for a benefit for you. My benefit was I got a place to put an airplane because there was no place to put one. All I'm asking is that you guys fulfill your end of the agreement, which was you'll let the rent from the hangar, not a penny comes from the city. That building is generating all the cost for the repayment and relocation of that building. So in conclusion, I'd just like to say that I did what I said I was going to do. I did it in 3 months, record time. I'm asking the city to fulfill its end of the bargain, which was you agreed to repay me the cost of the relocation. Thank you very much.
Okay. Well, we can't comment on that. I just leave it at that. Okay, I guess that'll be all the public comments for tonight. Okay, item number 6, we're gonna go reports from members of council regarding attendance of boards, commissions, social functions, conventions, workshop, ceremonial events, press conferences, candidate forums, and similar events where no formal action was taken and discussion of public business incidental to the event. And I'm going to start on my left, and that'll be to your right with Ms. Rachel Hall.
Thank you, Mayor. I did have the opportunity to attend the opening day ceremonies at the Cleveland Municipal Park for our local league for softball and baseball with their 10-year anniversary and their ribbon cutting. I know that there are some other individuals there as well, so I just wanted to congratulate the kids, the coaches, the families, wish them a great season, and thank you for allowing me the honor to throw out my first ever softball pitch.
Okay. Mr. Magwaters.
I just wanted to say, again, I don't want to miss an opportunity to thank I think we have a great team of, in all departments, our police and fire chiefs, and just can't thank y'all enough for the job that you do. There's exciting things going on around town, a lot of new things opening up, a lot of interest in Cleveland right now. So looking forward to keeping that trend going.
Mr. Ward.
I'm just going to piggyback on Mac Waters over here, okay? Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Buckley.
I just want to say thank you to all our first responders, staff, everyone that's out there, Public Works, and then also did attend the opening day ceremony for Little League, which I'm coaching this year. But I'd say I think Rachel threw a better pitch than Mr. Lee Tipton did.
Look, it's apples and oranges, underhand, overhand.
Is there any photo evidence?
But no, it was a good time out there. There's a lot of people out there. So hopefully for a good season and be able to keep working with them.
Okay, Mr. Tipton.
I'm gonna leave it at that.
Well, I'm just going to kind of add to Brandon and just the entire council. I had an opportunity to attend the opening day ceremony for Little League, and I was just so proud of the participation, how many parents and kids were out there, and just the enthusiasm, in the city. And also afterwards, we had the celebration at DeMontron Ford, and that was a great event. We had a lot of people that came out, and it just was an honor to be honored, by our city, and it was also an honor to be honored along with Chief Broussard and Chief Sean Anderson. And I just, every time I see them, I thank them, for the work that they do, because, they have a very hard job. And I'm just very excited about the direction that we're going in Cleveland. You a lot of times, you see a lot on the social media, a lot of people, I'm real sensitive, about our city and the perception of our city. I think anybody that knows me know that I love Cleveland, and I'm real sensitive about it. We're trying the best that we can. We're doing the best that we can with what we have to work with. And I understand that we got shortcomings. Yeah, we got 70-year-old water and sewer lines. We busting our tails up here, and, we getting it done, one brick at a time, but, we going in the right direction. So I just want to, tell everybody, just keep that in mind. We're doing the best we can with the resources that we have to work with. And I also want to thank our staff. They have went out and generated so much grant funding for our city, and that's never been done. And I just appreciate that, the group as a whole, you know, from the library to the police department, public works, accounting, civic center, the whole works. You know, you guys are doing a great job. And that's all I have for tonight, and we're gonna move on to item number 7, public hearings. Okay, conduct a public hearing on an application by Terrence Levi requesting variance and distancing requirements for the sale of alcoholic beverages at 101 South William Barnett Avenue, Cleveland, Texas, to allow the sale of alcohol beverages within 300 feet of a church. Okay. Okay, the time will be 6:27.
Thank you, Mayor. Just for staff, just an overview of what the item is for anyone who wants to make comments. Next slide. Next. So there was a request submitted for a alcohol variance to the distancing requirements prescribed by our ordinance. If the particular ordinance, section 10.7, any facility wants to conduct sales within 300 feet of a church, hospital, or school, that is prohibited without the obtaining a variance to that. So the subject property is located at 101 South William Barnett Avenue. The requester is 721 Foods LLC. And again, that is, their intent is to do a restaurant. And so there will be some food and beverage component to that. But then I believe with what I understand in terms of the state's structuring of licensing and what is available to our area, that would be under a mixed beverage permit with the food beverage certificate. So next slide is going to be of the subject property, just for kind of setting the stage. And then the next slide after that kind of demonstrate the public noticing that we did within a 1,000-mile radius of that. So I have more to speak on in terms of when we get to the action item.
Okay. Any other comments? Okay, are there any members of the public would like to speak at this time? Mr. Quay, or?
I live around the corner from that place. So every day after 6 o'clock, it's businesses right there, and it's all quiet. It's going. We don't have anybody around. So that's why we depend on the safety of my people right there. I got my family. My brother lives right there in the corner too. My ex-mother-in-law lives right there across from me. So it will be more traffic coming towards that place right there for us. And I mean, they can open a restaurant, they can do whatever they want, but once you start including alcohol in it, that's when the problem starts. We got kids up there. So it's too close in the city. Plus, we got the church right there. I mean, before in the past, I tried to apply to open a restaurant close to a church, and they say you have to be 1,000 feet away from it. So why are we changing it now? That's all I want to know. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay, no more public comments. Okay.
I think he's going to speak.
Oh, Mr. Levi? Come on, sir.
Good evening, everybody. So just to provide some clarity on what we're proposing to do. You know, a lot of us go out to eat in this city in different places. And I've been out to eat in certain places in the city and watch them have to escort people to their cars because the people are so inebriated, right? So This place is right next door to a church. I'm a pastor myself. Hadn't drank in 30 years, don't intend on drinking for the rest of my life. But I understand from a biblical standpoint that the Bible doesn't say it's a sin to drink, right? So I would not do anything that would put people in danger. So we're talking about doing a restaurant that is a cross between Splendora Cafe, Fuddruckers, something like that, 5,000, 6,000 square feet of space, with also putting a place to manufacture my frozen pizzas and bottle my sauce in the back. And so the whole idea is if somebody, it's only a beer and wine license, don't want to sell margaritas, don't want to sell any other hard liquor like that. If somebody wants to have a beer with their barbecue, that's all we're talking about doing. And so I had a conversation with, reached out to both of the churches. One church right across the street. I reached out to the one right next door. Robert Reynolds is in leadership there. He came and sat down with me yesterday. He said, I was thinking about coming to the council meeting to oppose the situation. He said, then I found out it was you. And I know you wouldn't do anything that cause our church harm or the community harm, right? So we sat down and we got clear, and he said, whatever you need me to do, I think he came to visit with Miss Juanita. He said, I'll write you a letter, whatever I need to do. So we're not talking about having no nightclubs and no wild party over there. We're just talking about a restaurant, giving the city a restaurant with more eating options that will provide jobs from 3 different businesses operating in the place. And so that's all we're talking about doing, just to be clear.
Okay, Emilio, now the restaurant that was right across from Brookshire Brothers, did they sell? Okay, all right, no problem. Okay, public hearing, hold that question for you. 6:33. Okay, now we're gonna move on to the consent agenda. Item 8, all consent agenda items are considered routine by the city council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member requests an item be removed and considered separately. I'm sure everyone have had a chance to review the consents, so do I have a motion or are there questions?
Make a motion, we approve consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Buckley, a second by Mr. Mac Waters. All those in favor? Okay, motion carries 4-0. Okay, regular agenda, discussion and possible consideration on the following. A, that'll be the police evidence building. This was requested by Ms. Rachel Hall and Desiree David. Ms. David's not here, but Ms. Hall.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Chief. All right, I know the history of the police evidence building. It was definitely a project that took some years to get going and to get funded and to get built. We're coming up on the 2-year anniversary of when we held a ribbon cutting for the building itself. One of the things in the news report from the ribbon cutting, now that we have funded it and opened its doors, it says that one of the key advantages of this facility is its capacity to relocate evidence currently stored within the police station. Additionally, it includes a state-of-the-art evidence processing area that is tightly controlled to ensure the integrity of the chain of command necessary for the successful prosecution of criminal cases. There's much more to the article. I won't read the whole thing. Anyone interested could go and read the article on Bluebonnet News. I'm going to say that based off of it being a state-of-the-art facility, and now that we're 2 years into operation with it, funded by the taxpayers, I know also that there's an opportunity through the Texas Police Chiefs Association for best practices. And I'm going to, again, read out of their manual just for clarity. It says the Law Enforcement Agency Best Practices Accreditation Program Committee manages the overall operation of the accreditation program and awards accredited status to the qualifying agencies. The committee is under the direction of a supervisor, The committee establishes and approves best practices, For the Texas law enforcement, it develops and manages a system for accepting applicants for the accredited status. It develops and manages a system for evaluating the agency's compliance with established best practices programs, and then awards an accredited status to the agencies that have been adequately proven compliance with the established best practices program. So my question is within 2 years now that we have it, have we applied for best practices, or what is the state of the operations of the evidence building at this time?
The best practices to the TPCA, Texas Police Chief Association, is headed up by one of the chiefs that I'm very well acquainted with. The ex-police chief in Huntsville, Mr. Kevin Lunsford, is one that would come out and help with the evidence part of it. But there's more to the Texas best practices than just evidence. We started this building back in around 2002, thanks to one of the councilmen that's here. Thank y'all for getting that going. 2023, we started and signed the contract. We did the shelving became an issue because of the price. We finally got that put in. There had to have been some adjustments done on that as a timeline form, a formation. There were some change orders done in 2024 due to the lighting because of the shelving. On 7/1 of 2025, less than a year ago, we did our final warranty walkthrough. We did get in, there was a punch list done around that time after the meeting on July the 1st, 2025 would be RW, Lisa and Mr. Logan. We started moving items into the building as we're currently using the building now. One of the main things about integrity with evidence is that I can go to prison behind it. Any officer, property manager can get in trouble behind it. We've had a black eye of that in Cleveland, at the Cleveland Police Department, and I don't want to go back through that again, and I don't want to put citizens through that again. So we're doing our best to strategically move things over slowly after 25 years in this building to the new building as we do an audit and strategically move things over. Court ordered a lot of things that may not need to go, that the statute of limitation is expired or there's no appeal process to where we have to keep it, maybe having a judge's order to get those things, destruction orders done before we move it all over there and we don't have to. So in the process, we have 4 or 5 little rooms and one big vault at the current building that we're trying to go through and categorize. We talked about an audit of the building. We're pretty much doing it now because everything that comes into the police department has to have a case number, and especially if it's evidence, has to be properly tagged, not cross-contaminated, and moved strategically. Again, when the courts call for those items to be brought to the court of the judge, it must be found and brought. So we have a way we store these things on shelving and have them categorized by case numbers and shelf procedures. So we've not had anything yet that I'm aware of in my career there other than the 2009, 2010 era where there were some things called for that we didn't have. But since I've been the chief in the last 14 years, I've not had anything that we've not been able to produce or bring to the court for examination or for trial. And so I don't know, we have to protect the integrity, prevent the loss. Anything that's found that must be returned back to the proper owners, we ensure that that is done in a proper manner and the integrity of that is kept fully.
Okay. You mentioned an audit that you're doing, and I know that, you know, the department always has a need for staffing, right? Every police agency does. Is there a way to get a third party that can come in and do the process for you, to take that off of your shoulders and let them come in and audit and move the evidence so that your day-to-day operations can focus on the many things that you do?
Sure, I'm glad you brought that up, Counsel. We could probably stand a personnel or a person to maybe do that part-time. Additional costs and funding and salaries and benefits, we would love to have someone to help with that. A lot of departments do it internally. They hire someone within the city to come and do what we consider like an outside audit, is like where you're speaking of, and have them to do it. I'm waiting on a price from Mr. Longford about what it would cost, or he knows some vendors out there that would help with that audit. So I'm waiting on a cost for that, but I'm sure it wouldn't be cheap for them to come in and do it. But normally, a lot of times, you pull someone from, one of your finance departments or water department or someone who's used to keeping Excel sheets and things like that and help you with that audit. But internally, we're doing it now, and I think that would be properly done once we can get most of the thousands of items we got inside the small building over to the big building. And then it would probably be a better opportunity to do that type of audit of what you may be speaking of.
Oh, okay, so, I mean, just, comment, I know that all departments are limited manpower, right? And so if there's a way that we can, again, take that off of the shoulders of yourself, whether it's I guess you said a position, I don't understand how, this is just personal opinion with what you just said, how someone from the water department would have best practices or training on how to properly handle any type of evidence versus getting, whether you hired somebody that was trained through some sort of accreditation program and/or had a third party.
We've done one of those in the past, and what we do is that person will go through and pull a case number, have us to go and find it. How quick can you find it? That's kind of how that process worked with an internal type deal, having an outside or an internal employee within the city. That's kind of how that works.
I got a comment on that. Okay, now, right now, you in transition of
Yes.
moving
Yes,
the items
yes.
from the station,
Will we see those pictures? Yes, sir.
okay, to the new evidence room?
Yes, sir. On the left is the brand new.
Yeah, okay, and we all know the struggles that we've had with personnel and manpower,
Yes, sir.
okay? And my suggestion would be, why don't we wait until the new budget that's coming up? Budget season will be soon, and, maybe we could put that in the budget to, hire somebody to audit it, but what's the hurry? Why we gotta do it now? Is it a problem or something, or?
I don't think that it's about a hurry or not hurry. I'm looking at, we're 2 years in, it was funded by taxpayers, and if we're asking staff from different areas to come in and to do it, is the same person doing it? Have they been trained how to do it? I don't know any of that information, or is there a way that we can do something that gets, instead of hiring a staff, like, once it's moved over, then it's operational. If you have a third party that can just come and move it over, and then you can start applying for accreditations and awards with the new facility, then that's an opportunity, for more positive recognition for the city.
Right.
Versus having somebody at the start of shift or end of shift. I don't know how or who is currently moving it. I don't know if it's worth a salaried position, part-time or full-time, but it is definitely important to our community members. Evidence is important to any case, right?
There's a few officers, sworn officers, who have helped to move some things into that building, and everything is on the camera. We have very nice cameras in there, and we do all we can to keep from compromising any of that by keeping the doors locked, no one having a key except myself at this time. There is a card reader to where the officers will and can be able to walk into the front door and enter into some mailboxes and store things, but they cannot get back to where the storage of the evidence is.
Yeah.
On January 16th, Mayor, I might say of 2026, we, along around just before that, in December, had to move some items back out of the building when we had some key problems. $437.50 later, I was able to get with Cody to get a locksmith to come out, and these little card reader deals are pretty expensive, but we were able to put a lock on the back southwest door. So we had to move items out, then move them back in once that lock was replaced. So that was January the 16th of 2016. I have a copy of the receipt here if anyone wants to see it. But so we had to move things out, move it back in, and it's something that we don't want to rush, like the mayor says, lose property, contaminate property, or cross-contaminate property.
Right, and you mentioned that you were looking at the cost, or that there is an audit or a third party that could come in, so you're looking at those costs of what that might potentially be.
We're certainly looking at all options.
Versus a position that may or may not be added, whether it's current or in the next fiscal year, but that's something that you've been looking into in order to help just
Yes,
move it in.
depending on that time frame, we're moving a lot of things and filling up the shelves pretty quick right now internally with no cost. So I'm just kind of wanting to check the price and the cost and see what it would cost to get that audit done. But that should not be a problem.
Yeah, but it's not just a cookie cutter standard that every police department uses, because our department, like I said, we've come a long way, and, we, as I mentioned earlier, we're doing the best we can with the resources that we have. And on our budget, we built the evidence room, that costs a lot, the new cars, we increased the salaries. I think that should be something that we should look at in the next budget.
Yes, sir.
And as far as our officers, our department, myself, I have complete confidence in the integrity of our staff. I mean, our police department, that y'all handling that in a professional manner, because as you said, people can go to jail in behind that.
Yes.
And, I've been here a long time, both of us. You remember back in, was it
2009, 2009,
2010.
2010.
It was ugly.
It
And
was.
I know that from the people that I know, out of Scott Phelps and all the other guys, Edwards, Shaver, we got top line officers, professionals.
Yes.
And I know y'all doing the best you can with what you have. But now what we're gonna have to do though, this next budget, we're gonna have to, get it straightened out. But we just been kind of holding everything together. Cause we just barely got the building built.
Right. I will say Captain Phelps has had to testify in federal court with evidence. I've had my share of being spanked across the board by some district judges about evidence. So we've taken some licks on it in the past, but we've always been able to produce. And those district judges have always complimented us on our speediness in getting evidence to them. And we're one of the fastest prosecutor agencies around, law enforcement agencies around for the prosecutor's office around, other than Liberty County itself, and it's huge.
And I do think it's worth pointing out, and I think you just mentioned it, you're less than a year out of getting your
Yes.
punch list and your walkthrough, that
Yes,
you
sir.
were limited on what you can do
2 months
until
ago.
that point. So, I mean, we need to take all of that into consideration when we look at this, over 2-year timeframe is valid. And I want to commend the police department, because they have done a fantastic job with this, but also shown a lot of patience, because they waited on this building for a long time. If there's anybody in this room that thinks they are not chomping at the bit to get this completely moved into, I challenge you on that. So I think that you're moving forward expeditiously and responsibly and getting everything moved over, because I know this evidence room was a long time coming, and it seems like a super long time ago. But again, you're less than a year out. We're talking thousands of pieces of evidence of being able to move in.
Right. One other little thing I might indicate while I'm standing here is that building does not have a generator connected to it at this time, and that is another little concern of ours, of the room temperature, environment, keeping it going if there was something, but I don't think there's anything coming our way soon, I hope, but that would be a concern as well. We have to have refrigeration and the environment, HVAC taken care of, but we're struggling, to get there, and we're gonna be there. And like I said, on the 16th of this year, we had some locking issues and had to move things out, and now we're moving it slowly back in. But we definitely want to keep and contain the integrity of our evidence, and that's something that we've been proud of for a long time.
That's right.
And especially after getting the new building, I can't thank everyone enough, council, mayor, city management, everyone for helping us to get that done. I have watched it for almost 40 years now, and we've had little rooms stacked on top of stacks. And, but we're proud of it, and we're going to get it there, Ms. Hall, and I'll be more than happy to get back with you anytime and answer any of your questions.
Yeah, thank you, Chief. And I know, what you just mentioned, not being aware of like the need of a generator, right? So if those are things that are one-time expenses that we can dip into an account and get it, I don't understand, it's not about an urgency as much as an efficiency. If we can get a third party to come in and move it and take it off of the responsibility of anybody in the department who has other job duties to do and get the generator that's needed, again, that is every case that is gonna go to court, right? Whatever is needed, like to just be efficient, to let taxpayers know that we're, a good steward of the resources and the money, and to get it operational. Again, I don't think if you need a generator there that we should wait until October to do that. That's something that we should be looking at next month. If there's a third party or
It's on the
something.
table.
Yeah.
We're talking.
Yeah, if there's a third party that can come in and, again, take that task off of you, so you're a small department with a lot of needs, a lot of calls, a huge area to cover. So it seems an efficient thing to do, to ask about a third party that can just like come in and relieve that stress of a slow process and just come in and get it done. So, thank you, Chief.
Do you think that we're gonna have, if you have a third-party person come in, don't you know you have to train that person?
I would imagine that anyone doing it would have to be trained, which is
That's
why I
right,
said.
that's right. So why are we trying to bring someone else in when he has this staff there that's helping him out and everything? They know what's going on. They know what's in the evidence room. Why are we bringing somebody else in here that don't know what's in there to move stuff? I wouldn't want him to come in my house and move nothing, if they ain't never been in there. So I'm just, this third party, I think that's just should be out. It's gone.
A third party, which would be a company that specializes in it, not just any third party. And if I understood correctly, Chief said that they
So
typically
that
get
way, we got to
employees
go out and
from
look for a
any
third, we got to
department.
go out and look for a third party. We have to go out and look for a company, right, that does that. So
Right.
that's more time there, and you want it done quickly, so that's still taking more time to do that, to go and look for this other company to come in to do it. So you still got time, so why can't they just do it? Why are we rushing, Rachel? Why are we rushing?
It's not, there was no timeline mentioned. It was not about a rush. It was about how we could help get it operational.
That's not the way you started it out, though.
I started out with asking if we
Yeah.
were operational and we could apply for best practices
Okay.
with a
Well,
state-of-the-art facility. Now, as far as timeline, when you said, Chief, correct me if I'm mistaken, you said it's a slow process and you pull people from the department or potentially other departments, to which I agree that why would we pull someone from a water department or finance department that is not trained in any capacity with evidence? But if there's a third-party vendor out there that is specialized in evidence and can come and do the job separate and everyone else is still doing their day-to-day functions, then it's an advantage.
It still takes time to do that third party, Rachel.
Right, there's no timeline on it.
Well,
It's about whether or not we can figure out the cost, or again, coming up with the generator
and
cost.
then you got to look at costs for that third party. You got to go back in the budget. So why we just can't wait till October to do all this? Why are we worrying about that right now?
We've started budget discussions. The budget has begun, it's March.
Okay.
Sometimes
So,
those
thank
officers
you.
are used for an extra eye to watch as I turn my back to place things
Yeah,
or
well,
carry from one
we're
building
gonna
to
get
the
it done.
next.
And Chief, we thank you, for your hard work and your
I
guys.
appreciate everyone's concern on that,
Your
and like I
team.
said,
Yeah.
we want it to be.
We
stayed
trying
on.
to, we trying to support y'all the best we can.
Sure, I know you will.
Yes, sir.
Thank
Okay,
y'all.
Thank you.
You bet.
Okay, item B, local ordinances relating to the process of new businesses opened within the city, limits to include but not limited to vape shops. And this was requested by Rachel Hall and Desiree David. Ms. Hall, David.
And so I guess, Emilio, I guess, am I directing questions to you as far as business development?
Yeah, any information you have to provide some guidance to y'all on some options.
Okay, so my first question is just, if a business wants to come to town, any business at all, what is the steps or the process? What does that look like for someone that wants to come to town in a summarized version?
So assuming that they already want to locate in an existing business and that business isn't going to require like any improvements to the facility, to the structure, then they would need a certificate of occupancy. And so we look at with certificate of occupancies, if the use is allowed based on the zoning district. Our uses are pretty generic, so something like a vape shop would fall under retail, general retail, mercantile. So if it's allowed in that zoning district, then we'll do a building code and fire life safety inspection to make sure they have proper, signage and different, aspects of meeting the building code and fire code. But it's pretty minimal in terms of process right now.
Okay, but they go through a process and they go through permitting or they're issued a permit for occupancy. So do you know the number of permits that we have issued to vape shops as far as businesses opening within the last 2 years?
Twitch on this. There's at least about 8 current operators of vape shops, to my knowledge.
And those are standalone because like vapes can be found in gas stations. So this isn't like a gas station that would sell it. This would be like a vape shop like on the corner over there near the Texan. Is that correct?
Yeah, what I'm talking about here with this number is like actual retailers of the specific products.
Perfect, okay. And I know that this is a question that has come up with the community quite a bit. One of the things that multiple people have asked me directly, not only about the number of vape shops, but a concern with the location within proximity of the schools and within walking distance of the schools. I know that in the past, and I don't know, I mean, within the last 2 years, I don't know if it's current. I know our constable's office has done a program where they go in and they send in minors to see if vapes can be purchased by minors. And we have had some within our community that do sell to minors. I've had parents reach out to me that felt like some of the proximity, maybe within walking distance of the high school, they were concerned because of some things going on with their own children and issues there. And I think it's very similar to this public hearing as far as alcohol near a church, right? So are there options for not necessarily limiting the number of vape shops, though, I mean, that might be one direction, but specifically, is there an ordinance that says it can't be within 1,000 feet of a school? Or is there any ordinance at all with vape shops because it's a more relatively newer thing than alcohol and tobacco?
Yeah, so there's a few different ways to address this in terms of ordinances you can adopt. So the traditional one being regulating via zoning, and I can get into that, and the other one would be like we have ordinances and regulations addressing certain types of businesses and business functions. So you can do it either way. I'll kind of go through what the elements of those look like. But with zoning, it's district-based, so it's location-specific and contextual. It's clear and accepted use of our police power, cities to regulate certain things in the interest of the health, safety, and welfare of the public. You can define that with other definitions, other classifications of land use. So that's kind of why it's more appropriate in a zoning context. It's a better approach for regulating where and why where, based on like, is it compatible with other land uses? That's more easily defendable. Options would likely include a public hearing process, and I'll get into the other options that kind of incorporate that. And zoning is kind of discretionary. If it included a process that it had to come before P&Z and council for public hearings and consideration, then there's kind of some ultimate discretion in terms of what y'all approve at the end if you find that it is or it isn't compatible with surrounding land uses. And you can't get a use variances. Use variances are prohibited in Texas. So you can't say, well, this use isn't allowed in the general commercial, I want a variance for that. You can't. You would have to try to maybe rezone your property into a district that did, if you didn't get into spot zoning. So that's kind of the options on zoning. Options on business regulation, so we're looking at activity-based, not defined by the actual land use, and that can get kind of difficult to enforce without having to and I think when I touched on that, we do that a little bit in terms of when we look at certificates of occupancy. You can require specific permitting or licensing if they meet certain requirements. You can assess, the good thing with the permits or license, you can assess annual fees, like some of our other permits. And typically that is administered administratively. So we could look at something that was more council-based, maybe like a waiver, kind of similar, like you said, like the alcohol component to distancing. But, we need to look at very specific language if we wanted to go this route versus incorporating it into our zoning ordinance.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I just have a comment. I was doing some Googling last night and today. Okay, Willis, I think they have 9 vape shops. We got 8 vape shops. I think Liberty has about 5 or 6 vape shops. Dayton got vape shops. I mean, Cleveland, we're not the only one, with this vape shop issue. I think I went in a vape shop one time just to see what they had in there. And it's no place, for kids, and any vape shop merchant that sells to a kid should go to jail, just like any merchant that sells alcohol to a kid should be locked up. Okay, but now what we have to look at now, I got a lot of flack about the vape shop that's opened up at the mobile station. Okay, now, but before the mobile station went out of business, okay, they sold alcohol there. And as a matter of fact, 7-Eleven is closer to the school than the vape shop is. Okay, and also, you look right across the street from the high school at that Grand Oaks convenience store. They sell alcohol there. They sell vape. They pretty much sell the same thing that the vape shops sell. So, it's not just Cleveland that's having these issues, but, we need to try to work it out in some type of reasonable way. Do we want to deny, on this here that I read that in order for in a high volume store, in order for a industry to remain profitable, you need anywhere from 200 to 250 customers a month to break even. So who are giving them all this business? I mean, is it kids or is it adult? I mean, it's just it has a lot of layers to it that we have to look at. Now, I've gotten the same complaints about, well, we need a restriction on how many Mexican restaurants we have. I mean, it has a lot of layers to it. But, some kind of way, we need to come to some type of resolution. I don't want to see a kid go in the vape shop and get in trouble. I got grandkids. I don't want to see them, being exposed to anything like that. But this is an issue that's bigger than Cleveland. I think Conroe has, I stopped counting at 24 vape shops. I stopped counting. Okay, so it's just something we're going to have to look at, as a council. And I like to get some feedback from the citizens. A lot of people complain about it, but let's just have a workshop and invite them in, and let's try to figure this out together.
Yeah, so we did benchmark some of those cities to see what they do in terms of this area. The result is not a lot of them regulated at all, either via zoning or via business regulation. And other kind of smoking material or synthetics that are really more involved with the THC and CBD kind of scare of like a few years ago, not really vapors or vapor products.
And I know that vapes in general are like a newer thing, and so it would make sense that not a lot of ordinances are in place. I guess my one specific question is, would there, and I agree with the mayor as far as having the community come in and give feedback and direction, I think that's a great idea. But similar to, again, like the alcohol within a certain number of feet of a church or school, is that a possibility for vape shops, is to have something on the books in regards to at least hearing the concerns of parents and community members that are concerned with the location, because there's one not too far from Southside around the corner, but there's also some that are close to the high school. And again, I know for a fact now the program was a couple years ago. I don't know if the constable's office is still doing it, but I know that some of them have been found to have sold. Yeah. Okay, and so, and they do have accountability, and that's handled through that department. They've done a great job with that. I just am curious if that's even a possibility, and then again, for further discussion in the future, to, because it's been on the mind of many of our community residents.
I think the one by Southside shut down, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, the one right there on South Line.
And then I think it reopened as another one. I think. I could be wrong. I didn't pass
I
recently.
haven't seen lights in about 2 weeks
Yeah.
driving past it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's down the street from your house, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, yeah.
yeah.
Well, the last time I passed by there, I think they was closed, and that was a couple of weeks ago now. If they, just reopened or something, that's,
But is the distance within a school, is that an option? Is that one of the options, similar to the alcohol that we're discussing?
It is, short answer.
Thank you.
You could do that via zoning or via like a standalone ordinance like alcohol. Now, yes, between distancing from sensitive uses like schools, churches, parks, stuff like that, what some other cities do, and Tommy and I were talking about this, we'd have to look deeper, is can you regulate distances from other vape shops and kind of basically distance them out of the market. Some cities have found success with that, but if there's a court case and that established some precedent, then we'd have to reevaluate. But
literally, we have one vape shop downtown on one side of the track, and then you cross the other side of the track, right across from the Texan, they got another vape shop.
Yeah,
But
and-
it's not just in Cleveland, though. This is not a Cleveland, it's a, I know it's all over Texas.
Yes, yeah, and now you'll see some of the communities referenced there in the research. What's important to note that this won't impact any existing vape shops. With any ordinance we'd want to look at, and it's better to address this in zoning, in my opinion, because then it ties back to the non-conforming kind of regulations, provisions in our zoning ordinance, but you'd have to really look at the thresholds and triggers of when the use vacates, when does it become non-conforming, or when is it just vacated and that's no longer grandfathered. So short answer on that is we're not going to see a lot of movement in terms of our current vape shops. This would just be impacting future vape shops.
All right, that's very valuable information. And then you're saying that these cities that you mentioned, the ranges, they are cities or municipalities that have gone with a distancing rule from one vape shop to another versus like distance from a school or park?
Combination of,
Okay.
Most of them are really just from sensitive uses. There's one or two that's from actual vape shops.
Okay,
Vape shop to vape shop.
all right, thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, I guess that's all we have. Ms. Hall, you okay?
Yes, Mayor, I think that, again, I agree. If we have this conversation or if the community is still concerned, and again, most of the direct phone calls I've had are about distance to schools.
Yeah.
So if there is some sort of workshop or something we want to put out and advertise to the community and let people come in, or somehow Skype in or something, whatever we use these days if they can't make it, I think that's a good idea.
That's definitely something that, we're gonna have to take a closer look at because I get hit real hard and often, about the vape shops. And I tried to explain it to them. It's just not a Cleveland issue. I mean, it's everywhere. We went to Galveston last week, and vape shops all over the place. So it's just something that we're gonna have to deal with as a community, and I wanna get more feedback, what do the taxpayers, what do you wanna do?
One last closing thing, I guess, from staff is that likely the legislature will probably weigh in. As tobacco lobbies were very prominent, I think probably vape lobby is going to be more prominent on these issues as cities start exercising some control on this topic. So the legislature in a few sessions may weigh in and say we can't really regulate these uses or limit how we regulate these uses. So if we adopt an ordinance, it may just be nullified, or aspects of it may be tossed out based on what the legislature does.
Okay. All right, thank you, Emilio. Okay, now we're gonna go to item C, approval of resolution granting 721 Foods LLC a variance from section 10.7 Code of Ordinance to allow the sale of alcoholic beverages within 300 feet of a church, hospital, or school. Okay, Emilio.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Emilio Navarro, Director of Community and Economic Development. So as I mentioned during the public hearing, we've received a request for a variance to Section 10.7 of the ordinance relating to alcohol, as the proposed restaurant is, or facility rather, is located within 300 feet of a church, hospital, or school. There is another section of the ordinance 10.5 that talks about proximity to residential areas. We did not consider that in this request because of the wording. This property is located along a state highway, and that is an exemption under that part of the ordinance, so it's not really considered in a residential area. So I just wanted to address that, that we're not ignoring that part of the ordinance, we just didn't find it applicable. The requester, 721 Foods, like I mentioned, is looking to open a food service establishment, a restaurant. As part of that, they want to sell beer and wine, presumably under a mixed beverage permit with the food beverage certificate. And that's what people, when we talk about 51, 49%, we're saying that's what that is, the mixed beverage permit with the food and beverage certificate. So again, here's where the property is located along East Houston Street and South William Barnett Avenue in the southeast corner. This is the noticing that we did. Again, we sent over 200 notices via mail, notified in the Vindicator newspaper as well, and the classifieds as required, or not required, but just as an extra measure, and posted notice on our City Hall bulletin as well. Kind of looking at the distancing, a few different maps for you. This first one is 300 feet from the property line, and so the facilities involved, looking at the two churches, Church of Christ to the east and First Methodist to the north, and then to the northwest, the Cleveland Hospital, while not in operation at this time. Just wanted to kind of look at it for all intents and purposes as a hospital. So as you can see, the subject property is located within those boundaries in the analysis. And then this is a door-to-door analysis done by on just some Google Earth mapping, but I assume, essentially accurate. But as you can see, still within that 300 feet distancing requirement under either methodology. In terms of land use context, the property is zoned general commercial with the Central Business District overlay, and that's for most of the property in the immediate vicinity, or I would say all of it. And that that district does allow for restaurants, including drive-throughs or drive-in services, and the sale of alcoholic beverages for consumption on the premises. So from a land use zoning standpoint, the use is permitted. The surrounding land uses include medical office, pharmacies, hospital, churches, and some residential. There is some residential in the area. In terms of the actual authority, it's not really prescribed in our ordinance explicitly, but it is prescribed in the Texas Alcoholic Beverage Code that governing bodies of the city can grant a variance if they find and determine that enforcement is not in the best interest of the public or creates undue hardship, and strict enforcement would lead to constitute an inefficient use of land or resources, create an undue hardship for the applicant, not serve in the intended purposes of the regulation, or otherwise be in the best interest of the community after considering public health, safety, and welfare. So that's kind of your litmus test for whether you should consider or approve the variance. That's kind of really all staff has. We just wanted to present kind of the facts, the basic information. Applicant is here to answer any questions you may have, and I think there's probably some community members with some additional comments. Happy to answer any questions.
So he's trying to apply for mixed beverage, correct?
In looking at the state mapping and what's permitted in our area for on-premise consumption, we're semi-wet with a mixed beverage and food certificate permit.
Well, that means you can serve any type of alcohol with mixed beverage, just not beer and wine.
Right.
So what's stopping,
And I don't work for TBC, so I couldn't say for certain. That's just based on the information, their state's mapping, that's what is available as far as options for licensing in our area.
I'll say that's what's stopping that from happening. And then also what happens if we do approve a variance and they shut down or sell, and the next person, we get fully wet, decides to open a full bar there?
That's a question for Tommy as far as, is that
Would
prescriptive
they
in
have
our?
to come and get another variance?
I don't think the variance runs with the land.
Doesn't run with the land.
No.
So if someone, so say they sell out, this is the hypothetical I have. If they sell out,
Is it transferable?
transferable now, do they have that variance, or do they have to come get another variance? Because now, even if they keep the same liquor license, because you can transfer liquor license, if they keep that same liquor license and they decide, okay, we're just gonna shut down the restaurant and do a full bar, if we become fully wet,
Well, so TABC will stop that, and TABC will actually require, and I've had this come up within the last year, they will require when there is a change in the alcohol permit. In that case, it was approved as a malt beverage with a food service subordinate. I think that's what they call it. And the business plan changed at the last minute, and they applied for a full bar, TABC. TABC rejected the variance because it was a variance on not, that they're very specific about that variance. So the variance is for, here it would be only for a food subordinate.
I know, but they have mixed beverage, though, is what I'm saying. So technically, mixed beverage is full alcohol, but since we're food right now, but it's mixed beverage, I don't think that's a full apply to TABC for if they did, so that you could be open and then still be open when we go full wet, if we do become fully wet.
If we were to go full wet, the variance would still be limited to what the variance was on its terms. That's assuming the same ownership is the one that changes, is the model, because if it's a different ownership, that would have to get a different variance. But the other thing with the thing is, and you're not limited by mixed beverage. You can grant the variance for, what is it, malt beverage? Is that the?
I would say that's the intent, is beer and wine, correct?
I think
That's what
that,
Mr. Levi has said, that he wants to do beer and wine, and I assume if you get a mixed beverage with food certificate, that you can choose not to serve
Yeah.
liquor, but I think you would have the license for the full spectrum of spirits.
Do we have a letter from either of the churches saying they are okay with that?
I think a representative did talk with the city secretary, and then there's someone from the other church here.
And I do have a question, kind of following up on your question. So is the variance transferable if the base business stays the same? And let's say, Mr. Levi sold the business and they even kept the name. They sold it to another, would you have to go, would it be transferable to that new owner if the
and this is where I
base
take
business
off my TABC expert hat,
Yeah.
that I should never put on in the first place. But I don't believe it is. I don't believe TABC licenses are transferable. There you go. They are?
I believe,
There's a way around it, trust me.
Oh, man. Yeah.
and not to unpack, because I don't know
Yeah.
all the circumstances, but the place, like you were referring to across from Berkshire Brothers,
Yeah.
I believe they are pursuing a transfer of that license.
Well, what I'm saying now, did they serve margaritas there?
Mhm.
The one right next door to the Catholic Church? Now, I never went in there, okay, but I passed by and I saw the sign that say happy hour from 3 to 6 or whatever, and I'm like, oh, okay, well. Now, I remember back growing up, as a kid, we had a little establishment, Chief Broussard he remembers that, and I know Roscoe remembers that. It was a little called Willie Frank's Club. And it was right across the street, the church house. Okay, but what they did was, anytime the church had any type of service on Wednesday nights and stuff like that, Sundays, they couldn't sell no alcohol. And they gave them, they gave them a waiver to where they could do it, but anytime it's a church activity, that they couldn't, sell no alcohol or nothing. Now, that's the way that was 40 years ago. I mean, but that's the way it was back then, and I don't know what they have on the books now.
I defer to Tommy if we were able to apply conditions on the variance resolution, because I don't know, then it'd be difficult to enforce.
Yeah, I'd have to look into that. I don't know offhand. I haven't seen that come up.
I mean, is there a liquor license for TABC for malt and wine, or is it just for all
Yes.
mixed?
No, and that's what I was getting at. Because I believe that what the TABC application would be under would be, I just can't remember offhand if wine is included under malt, but I think malt is like what they call beer now.
Yeah.
Again, I looked at this, so on the TBC mapping, and there was a few other options for off-premise, like retail sales. Only thing available for us for on-premise was semi-wet for a mixed beverage with food certificate. I don't want to, dispute if he's talked to representatives at TBC. There may be more nuances beyond what I can see on their mapping,
But we don't have letters from either church. I know we have people here from,
no letters to my
Pastor
knowledge.
here?
I'd say we have,
Come on, Pastor, talk to us.
but we don't have one from a representative from the other church, correct?
What's his name?
Hello, my name is Pastor Joshua Ray. I'm the senior pastor at First Methodist Cleveland, right across the street. So this property would be directly in front of our sanctuary. I'm happy to say that I came with an open mind, and I wanted to hear what this was going to be. If it was a liquor store or a bar, I would have felt one way. From what I hear described, I could imagine this being a very family-friendly place, somewhere that I would like to go with my congregants, and to have some variety in food would be a nice thing. However, there's a couple things that I would like to note. My primary concern is precedent, and I'm thankful that you guys are having this conversation, because while what has been described is something that I don't think would be an issue, I would just want to make sure that it didn't open the door for change that would not be the same as described. So if there was assurance that that wouldn't be the case, that would ease that hesitation. The other thing would just be more of a general appeal. So I appreciate the law, and I appreciate the city council for regarding sacred space. And I'm working very hard, both within the church and around the church, to beautify the area, and having an empty building that's not used isn't particularly beautiful. So should this pass, that is my appeal, is that we would work harder to make that area beautiful, both inside and outside of our building. I also just want to say that the church parsonage actually borders that property. So we will be good friends should this pass, and so would any other future pastor of First Methodist Cleveland. So that is another question that I would just have is what are the operating hours and kind of noise level things. I respect and understand the difference between this not being a residential area issue because it's on the highway, but I think it always helps to put a face to the people that live around that spot. So my primary concern is just precedent. From what has been described, I don't think that particular case would be an issue as long as we can ensure that it wouldn't become something else. I would also just like to say that what my understanding of the variance is that this is an exception. So the other part of precedent that I'm concerned with is making sure this is still treated as an exception with any other, and that any other request would be given the same due diligence and the same concern for sacred space. And my friend Mr. Levi here is correct in saying that beer and wine and partaking in is not a sin, but I am encouraged that there's someone here who knows that that drunkenness is to be avoided, and to cause a brother or sister to stumble is a sin. So again, I'm encouraged to hear that it's someone that would be mindful of that. So if this is the exception, then I'm okay with that, but I would really like to protect the precedent.
Yeah, but Pastor, I just want to relay this to everybody listening. You know, this council, you know, we born and raised here in Cleveland. We're not going nowhere. And we're not going to do anything to bring a stain upon our community. I mean, we've been there and done that, and, you know, what we're trying to do. But, you know, we're kind of in between a rock and a hard place. You know, I get it every day. We need new businesses. We need new eating places. Okay? You know, we need a Chick-fil-A and Denny's. They still give them the blues over Denny's. And we had Denny's, but that was a, what do you call it, Jules? Drainage issue. And we working on that, but we lost Denny's because of that. And, you know, the position we in, you know, we don't want to compromise our morals or anything like that, you know, because I'm a man of faith myself, you know, and I had a conversation with Pastor Levi a couple of months ago, you know, about that. And the way he explained it to me, he changed my whole perspective, you know. But at the end of the day, you know, we don't want to do anything to bring a stain or make our community unsafe. But we need tax revenue, man. I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you. Our only income that we get is sales tax and property taxes. Okay, but we want the sales tax, but we want it done the right way.
That's right. Yeah.
If it's not done the right way, we'll just stay like we are.
I was sharing with some of my congregants here that I think this is a best case scenario, an exception. But again, for me, as long as it weren't to become something other than, than what has been expressed.
Like I said, I'm real sensitive about what go on in Cleveland. And, you know, I've learned over the past 3 years that my name, the first name that come up when it's something about Cleveland. And I'm real sensitive about doing the right thing. And I want the right light shined on Cleveland to, you know, exhibit the type of people that we have here. You know, we got good people here. You know, we're trying to do it right. We're trying to pay the bills. You know, we just got so many needs with our fire department, police department, but we have to do it the right way. You know, keep our faith in God and do it the right way. But I'm learning in all this by listening to you all. You know, I'm learning. So,
very good.
But,
and then my last question would just be operating hours and stuff like that, if there was any kind of control over that or what his intentions were. So, but I think that's all I have, if that's fair.
I'll make a motion, we table it till we get a letter from both congregations.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Buckley to table this item until we get a letter from both congregations. Okay?
Can I make a comment too?
Yes, sir.
Before the vote, I'd also like to see see what it actually is in regards to what is transferable.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Because all due respect to Mr. Levi, you know, but 2 years down the road, you get a buyer that changes it into something completely different. We just need to ask that question.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
So for me, the church is always going to be first. This is business. I got a couple of other businesses. I can find a million ways to make money, but I appreciate what he said. And so for me, I feel the same way. I wouldn't want to put those churches or set a precedence where somebody else can come. If I sell it to somebody else or it's a transferable situation, I know what my intentions are. right? Can't control the next person's intention. So for me, it isn't worth that much to me to put that piece of property, if I go forward with the deal, to put that piece of property in a place to where they can transfer the license. And again, from my understanding of it is that you can do just the beer and wine. That's the lowest level, right? But I haven't done the research to say, that you have to do the full thing. If you have to do the full license and it's transferable, I wouldn't even want to go through with it, right? Because, again, I don't know who would come in there or what they would do, right? So I agree with you guys table until you can find out the laws on the transfer and whatnot, and that's just my position on it. Again, like I said, it's a second restaurant, another business. They got other places I can put restaurants. I like that spot. I want to do it, but I 100% agree with you guys. It has to be a situation where if someone comes in there after me, they don't go and do something totally different, and then you got this rabid presidents that everybody, well, hey, look, they did it, and we can sell this, that, and the other. Again, I've spoken to the people at the Church of Christ. No problem getting a letter from them. They're on board. It sounds like the pastor understands what I'm doing. But again, just to be clear, if we can't get some kind of a something saying that they cannot be transferred, right? They have to go and do the same thing that I'm doing, right? I don't want to give anybody permission who is not going to have the same disciplines, the same morals, and the same convictions to put them in a position to be able to go and do something that will dishonor, the community or the people. Amen.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I have a motion and a second. Motion by Mr. Buckley, a second by Mr. Mike Waters to table. Oh, I'm sorry. Gotcha. Mr. Ward, second by Mr. Ward. All those in favor? Okay, motion carries 4-0. Okay, item D, EDC annual report presentation. That will be Emilio.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Taking off my planning hat, putting on my economic development hat. I'm happy to present a recap of the 2025 activities and achievements of the Cleveland Economic Development Corporation, which is now the Cleveland Award-winning Economic Development Corporation, awarded the Economic Development Excellence Award by the Texas Economic Development Council. So starting off with how we present ourselves in terms of positioning and marketing the city, the community, and we really, in a lot of our materials, we do it from a regional level. It just has better kind of demographics. It tells a better story because economic development is a lot about storytelling. And so we try to, position ourselves to present a very positive and a good case for a business kind of investment argument. So we talk about Greater Cleveland in terms of its population, its median household income, households, and like I said, it's better when you take a regional kind of perspective of that. We have some peer communities that our retail consultant has put together for us. But again, this is just an overview. This will all be available on the EDC website. After this, I will publish the annual report and maybe even circulate it via print as well. A big area, I'll kind of go through this in buckets or areas that we operate in. One of those being industrial recruitment. We want to expand the tax base. We want to provide jobs to the community. And the best way to do that is by trying to recruit prospective industry to Cleveland. So we've had a lot of success in terms of just enhancing our output. And so in 2025, we sought roughly just over $25 billion worth of private investment through RFIs through the state, governor's office. And so a lot of things go into that. We get kind of the site requirements, what the company's looking for in terms of utilities, proximity to certain things. We've identified some sites in the community. We send those back, and from that, we take a lot of swings at it, a lot of bites out the apple, but that had yielded some good results in terms of 2 site visits that were a direct result of those efforts. And so, again, you have what that would look like in terms of private investment. That's, nearly $30,000 or 30,000 potential jobs that could have came. Like I said, we're not going to see results from all of this, but if we get one project that was maybe, $500 million or $1 billion that came to Cleveland, that would be a game changer. So very important work that we do in this space. We also adopted our target industry analysis in 2025. So we identified the industries of manufacturing, data centers, distribution and logistics, construction materials, and aviation type firms and industries as being suitable for Cleveland in terms of its different characteristics, but proximity to workforce, proximity to raw materials, proximity to customer base, to markets. So out of all of that kind of analysis, they produced these target industries, and that's kind of guiding our efforts in terms of industrial recruitment. We also do this work along with a consultant, business development lead generation consultant, and they have some marketing avenues. So we were able to get in front of roughly 2,000 companies in terms of email marketing. We've had about, and I'm sure it's more than this now, but nearly 700 views on their hotspot page. Retail attraction is another area. We want to definitely see the retail landscape change in Cleveland. We have a lot of demand and needs for newer retail and expanded options. So we do that work at the staff level. We also do it with another consultant, and we do that at trade shows, Retail Live. We also went to ICSC in Red River last month. And so we do that, again, to market Cleveland, build connections and relationships with retail developers, retailers themselves, again, storytelling, right? So we want to promote Cleveland and all the benefits and access to customer base. And again, if you look on Cleveland on paper, we're about 10,000, but you step back and we're actually much more than that in terms of daytime population, and then our retail trade area, which is defined by other communities that are not incorporated. So some highlights: we did welcome some new retailers in Cleveland, some that have already opened and some that are in the pipeline, as you're familiar with the Severn Brew project. And we've also acquired in 2025 some very advantageous retail property along the 59 corridor. So still exploring some exciting disposition opportunities with different firms for what that property could be. Even explored some different, maybe some land assemblage of other properties around it. So we're hoping in 2026 that we can find a suitable candidate for that property, but it is yielding a lot of good interest, at least at the moment. Another area that we do some work in is small business support. We've hosted 6 workshops and events in 2025, and we did about 70 different touch points with different small businesses in the Cleveland area. So, and we also promoted our business improvement grant. I know that was an area that we wanted to demonstrate some improvement, expanding promotion, and getting the word out about that. And so I think we were able to achieve that in 2025. But, things that we do for small businesses is kind of resource connection. This is, connecting the dots for them. They're a small business owner. They're wearing a lot of hats, doing a lot of things. So they might not have the time to see what assistance options are available to them or navigate a state or city permit process. There may be workforce solutions, funding solutions. So we just try to take some of that burden off of them and try to connect them with the right folks. Another area is downtown revitalization. We've done quite a bit of work in this area. Earlier in 2025, we hosted HGAC's Bring Back Main Street, which is a event that invites regional practitioners in the area of downtown redevelopment, planners, economic developers, chambers, elected officials, appointed officials, all to talk about what's worked, what hasn't worked in their communities as far as downtown redevelopment, revitalization. We did some lighting improvements in the downtown area, did some parking, paving, I would say parking space demarcation improvements. We're also accepted into the First Street Initiative, which is a program of the Texas Historic Commission and the Main Street program. So that's a free program where we get access to technical expertise and guidance as part of a cohort of other communities to participate in that program. So we meet once a month, and there's like a curriculum with it, and there's assignments. So last night we hosted a downtown committee meeting, our third one now, with in conjunction with the Greater Cleveland Chamber, and we did one of the First Street Initiative exercises, which was like an asset mapping exercise to identify, what are the assets and what could be the assets, what's lacking in the downtown area and surrounding areas. So that was real interesting to see. Another area that we dabble in is marketing and promotion. So a big part of that is strengthening and elevating our identity and our image. And so you'll be familiar, hopefully, with the rebranding effort that we have undertook in previous year, and we're able to carry the torch in 2025 and implement it through signage and our relaunch celebration. And so it's been very exciting to watch unfold. Quality of life enhancements is another area, and so this is probably one of the more tangible areas in terms of the work and investments that we make with the EDC. And so you'll hopefully this past holiday season you were able to enjoy the new holiday implements, decor implements with the wreaths and the nutcrackers and the window paintings. And so this year we just hope to even expand on that even further and really build up our collection of Christmas decor. Also, we were able to participate in the Samuel Wiley Park improvements in terms of benches that were installed there. Economic development is a team sport, so we can't do it alone. There's no way. So we rely on a number of partners to help us with that. So the city, chamber, school districts, local area colleges, workforce solutions, HGAC, TEDC, SBA, Historical Commission, the BNSF is an important partner, Entergy, Greater Houston Partnership, and the Governor's Office, just to name a few. But these are all very strategic and necessary partnerships that we have, that we rely on. We were able to participate and lead efforts involved with hosting the inaugural Log Jam Fest for the community. And so we welcomed nearly 5,000 attendees. And you can see the mayor get down with the chainsaw there. We're going to get you a bigger one this year, I think. But this event was able to draw a number of participants from across the region. You can see as far as College Station, Brenham, and even into Deep East Texas and Southeast Texas. And there's more area territory beyond that map, but hopefully we seek to improve our marketing promotion efforts for this festival and attract even more people this year. But very positive review in terms of surveys that were conducted following the event. And we just really hope to expand and make that even more successful event. Just some social media highlights. Shout out to Courtney for really transforming and overhauling our EDC Facebook presence, and we're now expanding that into LinkedIn to cater to a more professional and investment-oriented audience. So as you can see, just some highlights. But 7 p.m. evening time is our peak engagement, really engaging high with the female audience, and then kind of hitting that early to late middle age segment of the population there. But looking ahead, we're excited about a few different things. A Blue Dot, which is kind of like a reward system for local businesses and obviously local patrons. It's really a low barrier of entry in terms of the business doesn't have to do anything. EDC would have to play a role in terms of funding the awards kind of pool of money. But this, again, is just aimed at encouraging patronage and customers to visit local businesses and potentially get rewards from that. We're starting our business retention and expansion program that we're calling BRE Blitz, but it involves meeting with local and even greater Cleveland area businesses, industries to learn more about their needs and if there's any way that potentially help them assess an expansion project and hopefully prevent them from relocating. So retaining those businesses in Cleveland, because it's a lot harder to attract a business, but it's even harder when it's better to keep the ones you have. So And then again, as part of our branding work, we look to roll out our wayfinding and signage program. So already doing that in some ways, but want to do that even bigger and looking at some key intersections of the city to do some overhead signage. But happy to answer any questions, but that is kind of the highlights of our EDC annual report for 2025.
I did want to mention, because you mentioned it in passing, but I want to bring it back up and congratulate you and the team. That award of excellence for the EDC was only handed out, correct me if I get my statistics wrong, was only handed out to about 70 EDCs in the state of Texas,
85.
of well over 700. So that congratulations to you and your team. I think this presentation shows that the work that goes into it, and those dominoes are starting to fall, and I just wanted to say, excellent job.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. And it's the board too, a board participating in training and opportunities, professional development, that also helps with our scoring. So appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. Putting my planning hat back on, just want to provide an overview of the activities since last code enforcement update. I know we're aiming for a quarterly kind of recurrence of this kind of update to council. And so this is from December 9th last year to current day. But you can see a volume of cases, 115 over that time period, logging over 252 inspections. And just another view of that. February was a busy month. But yes, very, very active. I think that the investment in GovWell, our code enforcement management platform, has been just an asset in terms of helping us organize our casework and creating transparency, because these are done on a weekly basis and reported to council to see what our efforts have been. Next step for code enforcement is we have a full slate of substandard building cases to start with. We have about identified 10 properties for substandard building enforcement. So staff is going to be initiating the casework, which involves legal research and noticing these property owners. And then we'll start with the public hearings with the Zoning Board of Adjustments. So hopefully we'll be looking at those hearings in the early to midsummer timeframe. Just did some messaging recently in the water bills, trying to encourage residents to keep up with property maintenance, especially as we enter the springtime, in terms of grass and weeds. And so we want people to get ahead of that, removing bulk trash, maintaining their property, just kind of some good common sense messaging to promote throughout the community. And then, again, code enforcement is also a team sport. We operate on a complaint basis primarily, so anyone that can assist us in identifying potential issues, concerns, complaints, they can do so at that web page or that QR code. So we really need the community's assistance, because if we don't know about it, we can't do nothing about it. But that's just a brief overview of our code enforcement efforts. Happy to answer any questions.
I don't have a question. I opened my water bill, and I just wanted to say that I thought the QR code was a great addition to that flyer on the back. I believe y'all sent that out also with the pictures that you just showed.
Yes.
And for those who are tech savvy, it's very helpful. I guess is the only question I guess I do have is for our older seniors that don't use technology as much, do we also have a phone number or something for them to call that we can put up? Just for those that have limited technology access or internet access.
Yeah, yes, and we can do some training. Our receptionist should be able to assist them with that, and certainly our permits and code office. I've even entered complaints on behalf of people if I, pick up the phone. So we're all open to accommodating people with that are not tech savvy.
Okay, item F, active Discount rate for local league rental fees, Ms. Ashley Broussard.
Okay, good afternoon, council, mayor. As you know, we have been working to upgrade a lot of our parks and putting money back into our parks. We've have a master plan that we are working on. I know that when it comes to the question here that's on the agenda is the municipal park. As far as the municipal park goes, we are looking to move into our new software program that should, we've already signed the contract, we've signed the merchant form, so that should be up and active here soon. As far as getting with the company and building out that program. So we wanted to bring to council, we took this before the Parks and Rec Board, and Parks and Rec Board looked at the rates, what we currently have, and pretty much we're not changing any of the rates. We're not, and this, the ActiveNet will be for all facilities, including the park. And so what we're bringing today is to get council's recommendation on what they would like to see for nonprofits, local leagues, at a rate that is what we suggested to the Parks and Rec at a 70% discount. So as you could see, our field rental for, the fields are at $25. Concession is at $150. Gameplay for nonprofits are at $50. We're looking at doing a 70% discount, which, as you could see, for each of those, what that looks like.
Do we have a rate discount on concession, or is that set amount?
We do. So for the concession, it would also still be at a whatever's chosen.
70%.
So at like a 70% discount, it would be $45. Yes. So we put up between 70 to 75. It's just what council would like to see.
I think with the Parks Board, they're pretty comfortable with the 70% on there throughout for the local leagues. When I attended, I think Ashley would say, Ms. Broussard would say the same.
Yes, sir. We didn't get any pushback or
So, no
anything.
pushback to go lower or go higher. I mean, they
Yes.
seem comfortable with that rate.
Yeah, I think the, again, just the biggest thing is just getting that software off the ground. We needed this in order to move forward, and so this is kind of that final piece to our puzzle.
I have one question. I mean, the rates, look reasonable and with the park board being in agreement. My only question is about how do we identify online that it's, no better way to say it, a legitimate nonprofit? How do we make sure those who are getting the discount should be the ones being provided the discount?
Correct. So we will have a nonprofit vetting system, and that will be through ActiveNet. They will have to submit all paperwork from the state, considering them a current and active nonprofit.
Because we have some very wealthy nonprofit organizations, if you look into like a traditional nonprofit that actually, have quite a bit of financing. I'm not talking about local, I'm talking about just being designated a nonprofit doesn't mean they don't have the funding to be able to pay the reasonable rate set as is. So I don't know if that's even allowed to differentiate between a nonprofit that, might make hundreds of thousands or millions a year versus a true local nonprofit in the community that, is just doing their best to get by. I don't know if that's even legally, like if you can differentiate between the two or not, or if that's like a discrimination type of thing.
Yeah, I'd have to look into that, but I don't, it becomes really difficult. Unless you're differentiating between nonprofits based on the
Annual income of?
No, like what their like if you declare it's a public purpose that we want to support these types of nonprofits that are organized to do a certain type of thing, and that's related to a public purpose, then I think you may be able to get there. But just sort of like a big nonprofit, little nonprofit, I'm not sure.
Okay. And that's my only feedback is there are some nonprofits that could afford a full rate, and then there are definitely some nonprofits that need a reduced rate. I don't know if that's
Correct.
something.
And we can probably look into that, because I know there's different types of 501c3s and different things like that, and it may be something that we can discuss, amongst the boards to see if there's a way within ActiveNet that we can differentiate. But we will be vetting all as current inactive nonprofits.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Ashley, I know we had a discussion. There were some things that are in place for nonprofits, like I think you said we had to have a member on the board, or there's some things that aren't being essentially followed.
So a liaison, that needs to sit on a board. We also discussed auditing of the financials and things like that. So there are talks on what we would actually consider that vetted nonprofit.
Yeah, we're still in that process of finding out how we want to go and move forward with the nonprofit vetting. There will be a process put in place, and obviously that will be brought before council for y'all to approve and recommend to move forward with. But again, we want to emphasize that, this isn't just for the municipal park. It's for all our facilities that we have. It helps staff tremendously in time efficiency. The one that you see now with the parks, obviously all that stuff is free, but specifically for the pavilions, we wanted to put those in there that somebody can rent that pavilion. And of course, they're going to rent it for free. But it would stop two people from coming on the same day for two family reunions and kind of having that issue. Now they go in and they can look at the calendar and go, oh, somebody's already using that pavilion. Let me look at another one. So the benefits completely outweigh what the time staff was spending. And again, we didn't touch any of the other facility usages or deposits. The only thing that we added was the concession stand. Simply, we feel that, we did some little analysis, and at your high end, let's say somebody spent $50,000 out there at a regular price. At a 70% discount, it's $15,000. We feel that is a great sponsorship for the city to provide for those local leagues and those nonprofits that wish to use our facility, which is their facility if they're local. So.
And this also too provides a little bit more of a transparency as well. Like Lee said, you don't have the overlapping. If someone is, on that schedule, then they're there at, a pavilion, and you can plan accordingly. So they'll get their permit through the software, and we'll also be able to say, okay, well, this person had it last. Let's, check for deposits or different things like that. So this is more of like a transparency. And two, we also can, see it on the back end. So we have the permits that are being pushed out.
I make a motion that we accept and approve the discount rate of 70% for local leagues and nonprofits.
Second, I have a quick question, comment.
Yes, sir.
The rates on there, there's a 4-hour minimum still?
Yes.
Okay, I just didn't see it on there. I seen it in the parks one. That's why I was asking.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It will still be, nothing has changed other than us adding the concession.
So it'll be a 4-hour minimum. They'll have to rent it regardless every day. So it'll still be, was it like $28 or $29 fee for the day for one field?
What was it, 4-hour minimum or 4-hour maximum?
Well, 4 hours max. I'm sorry. Yeah,
Okay.
4 hours
Yeah,
max.
Okay, I couldn't remember what it said.
Yeah.
but-
Yes, 4 hours max.
Yeah, they wouldn't have to bid minimum, it would be. they
Yeah,
rent
the max of 4 hours.
And this is for all nonprofits and all facilities. So though we are thinking of ball in the fields, if a nonprofit came in and wanted to rent the Civic Center, they would get this significantly discounted rate as well?
No, we already have the 20% discount in place for those.
Okay. all
This
right.
was done like 2 years ago.
I remember that. So this is not all facility, like it's not the Civic Center.
No,
It's the park.
this is
This is
mainly
municipal park.
what we're
Okay.
needing for the parks as far as the discounted rate. But Civic Center, Stansel Expo have a 20% discount for
Okay.
those.
Excellent, thank you.
I just want to briefly make the comment, like I said, in the Parks and Rec, the importance of all this, how this started was accessibility to all citizens and anybody that wanted to use the park, and I think we've achieved that with this.
I think so.
You know, and we appreciate the board and we appreciate the council listening to it and offering your recommendations.
We greatly thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. McWaters and a second by Mr. Buckley. Okay, all those in favor? Okay, motion carries 4-0.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Council
Ms.
Mayor.
Ashley. Okay, item G, approval of agreement, service, and reservation of sewer treatment capacity between the City of Cleveland and Union Tank. Roger Brooks.
Mayor, council, all those in attendance. This was, we want to bring this up to you as far as previous years. It's been we wasn't getting what we were getting. With this contract agreement with Union Tank, we will be maximizing our efforts as far as they're paying for our cost and operations for the product that we get from them, which is pre-treated processed water, into our receiving stream, our system, and we will benefit in the long run. And this will go for future developments or industrials or anything in the future. This will be in place for that purpose, or any businesses that want to attempt to try to use our system as a drain system or any type of access. And I know y'all seen our attachment that you see the agreement. Those who have read it, all we're asking for is for your approval to move forward with this process.
Make a motion to approve item G.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Buckley. Okay, I have a second by Mr. Ward. Okay, all those in favor? Okay, motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Roger. Item A, Ms. Pam Harrison, consideration and approval of resolution revised fiscal year 2026 investment policy and investment strategy.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Excuse me. This is a request. We normally approve the investment policy in September of every year. We just went in, Lee and I reviewed it and made some revisions. Right now, we're limited to the pools that we can participate in. So we reviewed the policy as a whole and made some changes that would give us more ability to invest in different pools. So the changes, I believe you guys received a red line copy with the changes, and if you guys have any questions, I can go over those.
Make a motion, we approve item I, revise fiscal year 2026 investment policy and investment strategy.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. McWaters, I have a second by Mr. Ward. All those in favor? Okay, motion carries 4-0. Okay, item I, that'll also be Ms. Pam. Consideration and approval of upgrade from Tyler Technologies, ERP Pro 9 to ERP Pro 10 cloud version.
The ERP Pro is the accounting software that is used throughout the city. It is used for accounting, accounts payable, utility billing, courts, permitting. Emilio does have a second software that they're switching over to, but it will still have some processing abilities and the cemetery record keeping. We've also, this quote includes the fleet management that we're going to add in. Before, this has never been presented to council because the annual cost was less than $50,000. With the upgrade to Encode 10 Pro, in the cloud, we would have a more up-to-date version. 9 is obsolete when they go to training. The ladies always come back and say there's like 2 people in the training because we're that far behind on the functionality of the software. And these would put us in the system where we could log in anywhere. So it wouldn't be, there won't be anything on site. We'll be able to get rid of some of the servers that we have that currently host the Encode 9, and these will be web-based. So with this implementation, we'll get a prorated amount for what's already been paid for this year, and we will also go ahead and move version 9 to the cloud, and then there's a extensive process to to transfer from 9 to 10 for all the other remaining modules. Any questions?
Make a motion to approve of the upgrade for the Tyler Technologies ERP Pro 9 to ERP Pro 10 cloud version.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Ward, a second by Mr. McWaters. All those in favor? Okay, motion carries 4-0. Thank you, Ms. Pam. Okay, item J, discuss and consider and approve a resolution adopting required CDBG civil rights, which include the following policies. A, citizen participation plan. B, excessive force policy. C, section 504 policy and grievance procedures. D, code of conduct policy. E, violence against women act certification. G, limited English proficiency.
These are all the documents they're considered startup documents for the Texas Department of Agriculture grant for $750,000 that the city was recently awarded. These funds will be used to make repairs to well number 8, the one that we currently have the issues with the sulfur gas. And like I stated, these are just the startup documents that TDA requires for us to be able to move forward with the project.
Okay, is that the well on Williams Street? Okay, great. Thank God. Okay. Yeah, would it be okay to approve them all at the same time? Yeah.
Make a motion to approve item J, A through G.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Buckley, a second by Mr. Warwick. All those in favor? Okay, motion carries 4-0. Item K, TDA CDBG grant agreement, CSV 25-0161, signing of required TDA start up documents. Ms. Harrison.
This goes with the previous agenda item. It's just the grant administration contract, just signing with GrantWorks. And that's the contract that is between the city and GrantWorks to do all the administrative services for us.
Make a motion, we approve the TDA CDBG grant agreement.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. McWaters, a second by Mr. Buckley. All those in favor? Okay, motion carries 4-0, rather. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, item I, that'll be Emilio Liverio, discuss, consider, and adopt a resolution authorizing submission of Phase 1 community application for Texas CDBG Downtown Revitalization Grant Program through the Texas Department of Agriculture.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Council. So this is kind of the initial phase of a application process for this potential grant. So it's a very low match, 5% grant program. So we don't know the full financial implication of the grant at this moment. We're still kind of identifying potential projects in the downtown area. We actually spent a lot of time on this with the downtown committee last night, discussing potential improvements. So, but of what we discussed, they're all kind of eligible. But utilities, parks, lighting, drainage, all those kind of fall within the eligible projects. So we'll obviously identify one of those projects to pursue, but we would need this resolution to go ahead and authorize us to seek that grant. And then we'd submit the first round of applications, and then I believe there's a second round as well. So provide more details following that. Happy to answer any other questions.
So once you're approved, or if we approve it and you get approved for the grant, y'all are gonna pick one of the items?
Well, so what we'll take this and we'll submit our interest basically, and see if we get invited to submit to the first community application. So then I believe on the second one, they'll actually, when you would identify potential projects. So we'll, in that second round, we'll bring that to y'all as well for consideration.
Make a motion, we approve item L.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Buckley, a second by Mr. Mac Waters. All those in favor? Okay, motion carries 4-0. Okay, item M, that'll be Ms. Juanita. Receipt of written certification of unopposed candidates and ordinance for the May 2nd, 2026 general election, declaring unopposed candidates elected.
Good evening, Council. I've included the certificate of unopposed candidates. As you know, Mr. McWaters, Ms. Rachel Hall, and Ms. Desiree are all unopposed. And basically, it's the certificate saying that they're unopposed. Their name does appear on the ballot, and it does state unopposed. You still have to have one vote, so go vote for yourself. And the ordinance is also on here to provide that information for the May election that is scheduled for May the 2nd of 2026. We do have somebody running for council position number 6, which is Ms. Tanya Clark and Mr. Nick Cunningham that are running for that new position.
Make a motion, we approve item M.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Buckley, second by Mr. Warwick. All those in favor? Okay, motion carries 4-0. Okay, item 10, we will now convene into executive session. The City of Cleveland City Council reserves the right to adjourn into executive session at any time during this meeting to discuss any item on the agenda as authorized by the Texas Government Code, Section 551071, consultation with attorney 551072, deliberations about real property 551073, deliberation about gifts and donation 551074, personnel matters 551076, deliberations about security devices, and 551086, economic development. Okay, we will now convene into the executive session. That'll be 551071, consultation with attorney, hangar relocation and dedication agreement. It is 8:14, and we will now convene into executive session. now come back in open session. No action taken. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, I have a motion to adjourn by Mr. Buckley, second by Mr. Warwick. All those in favor? Let's go home.